All right, we're sitting here digesting some of the biggest games of the day, and Ole Miss, they went on the road against a ranked team and got the win. It's been a while since they did that. I ask you this. Is Ole Miss already in the playoff?
No.
No?
Yes.
No, but yes?
No, but yes. On paper, you would think they could win out and they're going to be in the playoffs. They're in prime position to make the playoff, yes. But you have South Carolina. You have the Citadel, okay. Florida, we'll see what happens with them and their interim coach. And the Egg Bowl, that's always crazy. That's a huge rivalry game. So I want to say yes, but you have to wait. You got to finish this thing out.
Okay.
A 10-2 Ole Miss team probably is in. So you look at that schedule and you say the likelihood of them winning at least 3 of those games is probably pretty high. So I can see where you feel comfortable saying that. As soon as I say it, though, if one of those losses is really ugly and now it's a comparison with other 10-2 teams, this has not been the most rigorous of SEC schedules. I still think they got to play good football to get there.
And remember, a mid-Florida team beat them last year, right? So crazier things can happen. But I think, to me, that was the thing that Ole Miss really answered today. Can they finish? Are they for real? Can they go on the road and beat a ranked opponent, something they hadn't done in the last 9 tries? They answered it with an emphatic yes. And it wasn't a pretty win. There were some holes to it, but it was a gutty win. They showed resilience. They finished the game today that against Georgia they couldn't finish. So even though they didn't run the ball as well as they wanted to down the stretch, they dominated the time of possession, 35 minutes to 25. They made the plays they needed to make. They were great in the red zone. They were great in goal-to-go situations. And Trinidad Chambliss, man, what do you say about that?
He's 6 starts for this young man.
Fly him up the Heisman
only
ranks.
one game he did not throw for over 300 yards, 315 today. He is just an exceptional football player. Ferris State, SEC, no matter where he's cleating them up, this guy is outstanding. And he did it again because he can extend plays. The most points and the most yards allowed by that OU defense.
And that was the thing.
That was the thing. And to your point, AT, that second half, there were 3 straight series where OU just went down the field and scored.
Yes.
And this team, the offense was 3 and out or had a few plays and they had to punt, but they were able to overcome that, unlike a week ago in Georgia.
I love the story of Trinidad Chambliss, but this was an average game for him in this last run since he took over as the starter. This story is about their defense.
Oh, yeah.
Redemption. This story is about Pete Golding and getting this defense up and going, especially after the 4th quarter of the Georgia game last week.
And it started to feel like
They're
that.
at the bottom of the heap in the SEC against the run, and here comes a more healthy John Mateer, who provides a dual-threat quarterback to this Oklahoma offense. His coordinator came with him from Washington State, Ben Arbuckle, and they don't get it done. This defense was terrific today in enemy territory. They did it in Norman. And I think if you're an Oklahoma fan, you got to be scratching your head. Where did our offense go?
Yeah, and it's an Oklahoma team that on defense was averaging only 9.4 points allowed, and you see what the numbers showed today.
Yeah, their offense went to Los Angeles and had hand surgery because Mateer just hadn't been the same. It's been the veneer of Mateer. When you can compare what we saw early on in the season prior to the injury, he's a shell of his old self. He hasn't had any rushing touchdowns since then. He had 11 coming in. He had at least 1 rushing touchdown in each of their games. And that offensive line, man, Bill Bedenbaugh, I'll say this and take this to my grave. He's one of the best O-line coaches in the country.
You're going to take all the offensive line coach to your grave.
Coach are having a
Damn, that's going to be a big old grave.
They struggle.
Have you considered
mightily.
cremation?
When Mateer got the veneer, was he looking in the mirror?
They need to look in the mirror, Oklahoma.
2 of the last 3 defenses have been top. Well, no, I can't say that about Ole Miss's defense, but they look like a top 10 defense today at times. I mean, they got to him and they pressured him. And of course, 2 weeks ago was the Texas defense where he struggled, the first game back from the surgery. But you and I have been saying it all season. This guy is prone to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Early on, while they were still undefeated, there were games where he put the ball in harm's way and the other team just didn't come up with it. I thought he was forcing things today. He was pressured, of course. OU was 4 of 14 on 3rd down, and they were 1 of 3 on 4th down. So, yes, redemption for Pete Golding's defense Those guys were hunting all afternoon. OU ran for over 100 yards for the second week in a row after a stellar performance versus South Carolina. But that guy got pressure today, and he is uncomfortable. When he's comfortable, he was still making plays.
By the way, Oklahoma has a daunting remaining schedule as far as their. But with that and the 2 losses, they actually have a chance at redemption. Look at that.
If they run the table, they're in. If they run the table, they're in.
Yes.
The likelihood of that, given what we saw today, is small. But I will also say that Lane Kiffin deserves a whale of credit because there's been distractions about him.
Yeah.
Right? His name's in the news with the Florida opening. It's not new to him. His name comes up for a number of opportunities. But somehow, some way, however he handled that with his team, they came out and played.
You know how he handled it. He called them a scout team defense. And
that's what he said in the aftermath of the Georgia game.
That hurts.
Over the course of this week, since the Billy Napier firing, he's had to deal with, it's going to be Kiffin to Gainesville.
Other than money, not other than money, but why would he can't he have everything he wants at Ole Miss? Why would he take the job?
But he hasn't done anything at Ole Miss. What have they won? Yes, they've had double-digit win seasons, but they haven't gotten to a conference championship. They haven't been in the CFP.
They were knocking on it last year.
Probably a better question for Jimmy Sexton. What he doesn't
let me
have
call Jimmy while we're doing this YouTube.
Well, he's been consistent, right? He's 7-1 in 3 of the last 4 years, but it always seems to be some sort of glass ceiling that he can't break through. I'm wondering, and I love your point, Rick, because it feels like we're watching in real time the maturation of Lane Kiffin. And he's goofy and fun and got his Steve Spurrier stuff, but he's becoming a good coach. And to be able to handle those distractions, what he's going to go in there and say and keep everybody focused and then go on the road and then do something they couldn't do a couple of weeks ago, that's good coaching. We know he's the portal king. But the culture that he's building and his ability on the field as a coach, I believe we're starting to see him take some steps forward.
And what we saw in Indiana with Curt Cignetti and the re-upping of him, because the Indiana faithful who have been waiting for this all their lives don't want to let that go.
Largest alumni base in the country.
I think we're going to see this in Oxford as well. I think they're going to say, what do you want? You got to.
Name your price.
We want you to stay here. This is too much fun. Because this is a program that, frankly, this is rare air for them.
Yeah, and you know what? You still feel the pressure. I feel like every SEC school, you're going to have that kind of pressure, but it's less pressure than you see in Florida.
He has more room for error where he is now. More room for his quirkiness. More room for
be him, yeah.
For him sitting where he sits currently than he would if he was in the swamp. That's a meat grinder, man. Well, I mean, he was in it at Alabama, but they were winning. They were getting to title games. But now being the head man in the swamp, I mean, grass isn't always greener. I'd stay where the hell I am. And you're right. They might have to go to the
Knoxville and Los Angeles were meat grinders as well.
Yeah, so maybe he likes
had
where
the tarmac.
But Alabama is still good, but not who they were. LSU's not the same. Georgia's not the same. The crowd and the pack is coming back to Ole Miss as well.
Do the thing.
I'm not.
Do the thing.
The ceiling coming down, the floor coming up, and they're getting squeezed.
See if we can fit
in the middle.
in mushy.
Mushy in the middle. You hear that a lot around here. All right, we didn't even need to do the highlight.
Who picked Ole Miss to win?
Everyone saw it by now. Oh, Tuesdays Inside College Football. BJ picked Ole Miss. He was the only one.
I have faith in that sorry-ass defense.
State is upset. Just
Shut up. Time to go. Bye.